here, and this is a very special podcast because I have my son Kyle Outridge. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Not too bad, thank you for having me.
Wow, the enthusiasm level is way beyond what I was expecting. So we're on the beach. We're actually here with the grandkids, and I don't know, they're drowning, and so we're doing a podcast. Because what else would you do but do a podcast?
We got two women over here that aren't too pleased looking at us either.
Well, we have my lovely wife Carmen, who's a camera person, and we have Val. How we doing, Val?
Good.
Just shoot the mic over. Yeah, she have Val in the background. Yeah. So you're probably wondering why Kyle's on the podcast, because I'm not just having family on the podcast. In fact, I usually don't have family on the podcast in case stories come up. But you're a creative entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Did you know that?
No? Well,
Yeah.
I'm learning.
So tell us what you do now. What do you do now for a job?
I am a podcaster myself. I just started on the Leafs Convo. We talk everything Toronto Maple Leafs, and I will have my own show starting in October.
And what do you do to make money? Or are you making so much money from the podcast you don't have to work?
Well, unfortunately, we're not at that point yet, but I do have a daytime job. I am a mover by day, podcaster by night, so...
Oh, you're following in my footsteps. That's what I like to see.
Thanks.
So let's because you had something else going. You got a podcast going now, but you had a blog going, and you were writing about football. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Sports Rundown blog. I still actually run it. It's still up on Weebly. Now it's moved to every sport. I talk all sports, but it did start as a football blog mainly for Canada and American football.
And what made you start that? What made you start that blog?
Just the interest and the love for all sports and the sport in general. I always love talking it, so why not write a blog and have other people enjoy it?
Okay, so then you got picked up by a guy who was because you were writing about what is Louisiana team,
The
right?
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints. So you got picked up by a guy down there, and what happened?
So
when the
it's
guy,
definitely grown into more of a podcast market nowadays, more than the traditional writing style.
and you've been a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. Do we want to admit that on the air? Yeah,
Well,
we already did.
I'm
so
a
it doesn't
diehard,
matter.
so it's okay.
So you've been a Toronto Maple Leaf fan since you were born, approximately 29 years ago.
Correct.
And you're still, so now you're on a podcast called The Leaf Convo. How did you get onto that podcast?
Well, I have a pretty decent Twitter following, and I do post some small blogs and some stuff that I was doing, and it's along with the guy that when I was doing the football blogs, Norm, who runs the Leafs Convo, he noticed my interest in my knowledge of the hockey world and the hockey industry, and he actually came out and asked me if I wanted to add a segment on his convo, on his podcast, and we started doing some little 2-minute takes, and it's been taken off ever since.
Oh, okay.